Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the American Space in Nairobi. So we are waiting for highway, but we will begin the program. My name is Kathy Wandera. I'm the program coordinator for Debating for Emerging Voices, and today we are going to be with you. So we expect to have 3 rounds, 45 minutes each. You'll be briefed on the timings for each construction, the rebuttals and the cross-examinations, as you have been practicing in your schools. So the participants, the ones who are coming to present the points, will not be in the same room at the same time. So we will first begin with the affirmative speaker to completion, then she will leave the room, then we have the negative one. Again, this person will leave the room, but the specifics will be communicated by the judge for the day. Thank you.
Our great emerging voices, coaches, program coordinators, good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to take this opportunity to applaud all of you for taking the whole step to participate in this life-changing mission. And I'll go straight to point out to a few pointers which I think it's important to know. So the following are the considerations I will use to determine the winner. I need to see our structured argumentation. So we're not here to get the best speaker, we're here to get the best debater in the round. And a successful debater focuses on advancing his or her ideas or invalidating his or her opponent's ideas. Secondly, each debater should provide a framework or a standard they think the judge should use to evaluate the round. And then lastly, the debater must prove how his or her side is to the standard being achieved. And so a successful debater for purposes of this program is one who must be concise, or he or she must be concise and logical in their writing. So at the end of the debate, I'll expect you to provide me the writing, which must be very concise. Then you must be eloquent and your speech must be informative. And then we need to use effective. You use your time effectively. So I'll go straight and mention we'll have the following sessions: the affirmative constructive speech, which consists of 6 minutes, and then we'll have the cross-examination by the negative, which will be 3 minutes. So after the 9 minutes, we'll have a break of 4 minutes, and then we'll go straight to the negative constructive speech, which will consist of 7 minutes, and the cross-examination by the affirmative, which will consist of 3 minutes. We'll then go to a break, which will consist of 4 minutes, and then we'll have the rebuttals. The rebuttals have the affirmative rebuttal, the negative rebuttal, and the affirmative summary. So the affirmative rebuttal has 4 minutes, negative rebuttal and summary will consist of 6 minutes, and the affirmative summary will consist of 3 minutes. And then I also need to point out the following. You need to address the judges who are speaking. So I'll expect most of the time you address me. And then you also need to show me your codes, because you're not coming here. I don't know anyone's name, so I need to see your codes. And then I will have, as I have mentioned, we have the timings. So when your time is up, I'll just give you an verbal cue. If I raise my hand, it means your time is up and you need to stop. And so, I think just a minute, sorry about that. And so when judging, I will not look at the quantity of your speech. I need the quality and the depth. So I hope you've done enough research. Yeah, I'll expect you to, if you're pointing out you got this from this source, you need to state the journal or whatever source you got. So I'll expect very in-depth research. I think that is it for the day. If you have more, I'll still keep you posted. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing you.
So just to reiterate what she said, these small pieces of paper is what you're going to show her as you walk to the stage. Is that clear? So I'd like us to begin, but I'd like the participants to leave the room now. So we'll begin.
Let's take this opportunity to thank all my team members who have played the pivotal role of always supporting me by lending their helping hand in doing research and encouraging me to always go for the best. I offer special appreciation to my patron, Dr. Okon, who at every given time provided resources which were needed to conduct research and has been sourceful in terms of information. I have found with no hesitation the resolution that states returning of corporal punishment back to school is justifiable. For clarity, allow me to give the following definitions. Returning, this is the act of going back to one place or another, or in simple words, as Marcus Garvey would have put it, it means bringing back a tradition. Justifiable, existing or done for a good reason and therefore acceptable. Corporal punishment, a physical punishment of people, especially by hitting, caning, or slapping them. My grandmother always used to tell me that one has nothing to lose when you can do anything. A famous psychologist, Diana Bagley, once said, and I quote, "A student's ability to follow rules and regulations is important in realizing set objectives in any institution of learning. When students demonstrate respect to authority and fellow students, they obey rules and guidelines and perform certain duties, and with this, order and security is realized." This was said by the late Dr. Griffin in 1996, who was the director of Starry Boys. Now, while many students are able to do this fairly, others must be forced to maintain order. Statistics has proven that only less than 20% of students display problem behavior in schools, but their action can have far-reaching consequences on all stakeholders. The number of indiscipline and arson cases in Kenya prove this to be true. According to Kenyans.com, an online newspaper, many counties in Kenya had a number of schools suffer arson attacks where property of massive value was destroyed. Most schools from these counties that are stated below had their property worth millions of shillings burned. The counties are Nyeri, Kiambu, Siaya, and Kilifi. In Kakamega High School alone, with a population of over 2,200 students, each had to pay 9,823 shillings to cater for the lost property that was running to almost 30 million. Apart from that, other schools were affected, for example, Sigalame High School, where 5 dormitories were torched, and this means that the parents had to use a lot of resources to rebuild them. Students also wasted a lot of time, and besides that, they were psychologically and emotionally affected. Faced by such devastating scenario, a visibly frustrated Cabinet Secretary of Education, Professor George Magoha, stated, "We need to introduce caning like yesterday, so do not expect our teachers to do the impossible." There was a debate in many newspapers and radio stations where many people thought that bringing the cane back to school was long overdue. And with that, I choose my value as responsibility and my criterion as fairness. A just government should ensure that their citizens are well governed. Policy rules ensure safety and fairness to all. It ensures that the action of people does not affect others, and other people are not affected by others' behavior. The environment of schools in Kenya is characterized by strikes and arson attacks. It is the sole responsibility of a responsible government to bring in additional policies to ensure things run well and there is order. Now on to my contentions. My first contention is corporal punishment drifts up discipline methods in school. According to Jim Rohn, discipline is the bridge between goal and accomplishment. The personal responsibility of each school is always to be disciplined and concentrate on their competence in school, which is academics. One may argue that there are other ways of dealing with indiscipline issues, such as the democratic discipline, which involves students choosing their own punishment, a positive reinforcement, which involves rewarding one to keep off mistakes, and offering guidance and counseling. For the past 21 years since corporal punishment was abolished in Kenya, under the legal notice number 56, indiscipline cases and arsonic attacks have risen to the peak. In retrospect, it can be deduced that the government's irrational decision to abolish corporal punishment was uncalled for, and it is now looking into the matter of implementing it. I know it will be said that many have suffered and have gotten injuries due to corporal punishment. It is so unfortunate that some had to die because of corporal punishment. But the question is, how many benefited from it? In our nation, Year in, year out, we have had car accidents on our roads. But does that mean that we stopped using cars in Kenya? For all other methods have failed, should we fold our hands and watch our children destroy themselves? The only remedy that has proven effective for indisciplined cases in schools is corporal punishment. On to my second contention. Corporal punishment saves a teacher time on handling discipline cases not solvable by mere talking. According to the Basic Act of Education 2013, before corporal punishment was removed, it states, corporal punishment should be imposed by or in the presence of a school principal or head teacher and should be inflicted due to neglect of work, lying, bullying, gross insubordination, indecency, and lies. The punishment ought to be cool and methodical and not passionate. A research conducted by Stewart and Stress in 1998 in an international university found out that students who had received corporal punishment had stayed clear of indisciplined cases, while those who were never killed got involved in gross misconduct. Imagine a scenario with a class of 50 students has been found in an indisciplined case and all of them want to receive guidance and counseling. Would that not be a waste of time? Now to my third contention, corporal punishment is effective when one has a positive attitude. Attitude towards corporal punishment is very vital to realize its effectiveness. That, for a positive student, when a student chooses a positive attitude towards corporal punishment, they reflect and look back on the mistakes they have made and come to the realization that they were on the wrong and they need to amend their ways. And now, when a student chooses to have a negative attitude towards corporal punishment, they see that when a teacher takes the cane and strokes them, the teacher is unleashing his or her anger on them. Now, drawing up on my conclusion, I have agreed that corporal punishment is not always immoral, but it is us who approach it with different point of view. And the problem is that we are too irrational to come to conclusion, and that's why the government is revising its policy of bringing back corporal punishment because it is effective and durable and highly reliable. Thank you.
Why not just educate teachers away from using corporal punishment?
Educating teachers away from using corporal punishment, what do you imply?
I imply that banning corporal punishment will produce an alternative way for teachers to find a way of disciplining children instead of using corporal
And
punishment.
instead the alternative methods.
Yeah. For example, a teacher may use a light punishment rather than using corporal punishment, which is a form of violence to children.
When you talk about light punishment, enlighten me what you're trying to say.
For example, if a student strikes a wall, the teacher can simply tell the student to go and run and watch the wall where he or she has it.
Okay. In 2001, when corporal punishment was abandoned, I think that these other methods that you're talking about were implemented. But let me ask you a question. When you look at our current situation in the schools, do you think that these other methods that you are implying, have they proven effective?
Yes, we have proven effective. Through the research of Stephanie Park, she said that corporal punishment, when it was introduced in school, these children intended to be more aggressive and it caused more negative way impacts than the positive. So she stated that one of the schools in Mississippi, when these light punishments were introduced to school, children, about 75% of them complied with it. The second question. Do you mean that the banning of corporal punishment has led to an increase in crime?
Yes.
Why?
When you look, for example, the last academic term of 2021, in the month of November and December only, 41 assault attacks from different schools were reported in our news. You could see different schools banning their dormitories, different schools banning their laboratories, different schools even banning their dining rooms.
But if you insist that corporal punishment leads to an increase in crime, I sincerely don't get it because factors of crime are so many. Lack of poverty, poverty can lead to crime. These children are, for example, you said 2021, banning of schools with so many. Coronavirus came a lot of challenges, right? So These challenges led to loss of money. Many parents did not have that money, and students, so that they can find a way to contain themselves.
So do you mean that it is justifiable for a child to burn up a dormitory or a child to go to school to stay just because of their conditions at home?
No, I didn't say that. I said that corporal punishment does not lead to crime. There are a lot of many factors that lead to crime, not punishment.
So I would like to thank the first speakers, but I would like to just point out one thing: use of time. I'll be a bit lenient there because it was our very first speaker. 01 used 7.19 minutes instead of 6 minutes. So I'll be strict. Let me again read what we're supposed to do for the timings. For the affirmative constructive speech, that is 6 minutes. Cross-examination by the negative, it is exactly 3 minutes. Negative constructive speech, it is 7 minutes. Cross-examination by affirmative is 3 minutes. Affirmative rebuttal is 4 minutes. Negative rebuttal and summary is 6 minutes. Then lastly, affirmative summary is 3 minutes. Can you take note of that? And then most important, before you begin to speak, kindly show me your codes because I do not know your names. Yes. So we are going for a break of 4 minutes. See you after 4 minutes.
JB,